Welcome to lecture number 2 of module 6, that is additional topics related to new development. In lecture 1 we discussed various type of demand side management programs, and those are very useful for your utility as well as for customer point of view. We also discussed the various developments in the generation side, transmission side, and also in distribution side as well. Now let us see what are the various demand side management options are available. The currently available demand side management options are: first one is your innovative tariff rate. It is claimed that the adapted time of use tariff reduce the peak load. Here normally if you will see in integrated power system where we are not operating in the competitive mode, I will discuss later on in few slides. The type of this tariff we go for, that is for throughout the day the tariff is fixed. The tariff you can say rate of electricity is not changing. So what happens, people are not cautious of what is the system demand, whether it is a peak or whether it is off peak, they keep on consuming the power. But if you are going to use the time of use tariff, means if it is a peak hours we can charge more, then customer will shift from the high rate to the lower rate, so we can reduce the peak demand on the system. So this innovative tariff rate, and again in the competitive power market, the people are automatically, they are just watching the price. When the price is less, they are trying to consume as much as possible. Another is direct load control, that is the second option. Here this is implemented with the interruptible tariff rate. Means if suppose tariff is higher, then we can use some devices that can directly interrupt some of the load, and then it is called direct load control. Second one is your strategic conservation policies. The energy efficient lighting appliances, refrigerators, air conditioning, etc., which reduce the electricity use for the same end use requirement. Means you can see right now we are using lot of devices that it called CFL. They are very much useful, means for same light that we can save a huge amount of electricity if we are going for the 1 year calculation. Also we can use the very efficient motors for your refrigerators, and also air conditioning compressors, etc. we can use, and then you can reduce the electricity use and our output is not compromised. Second one, the cool storage for air conditioning. What we can do, suppose your demand during the peak hours for your air conditioning is more, then we can, what we can do, we can have some cool storage during, we can store that during the off peak period, and that we can utilize during the peak hours. So what will happen, it will shift again your peak demand. So this is basically peak load shifting technology that we are going for. And another, that's fifth option, is that the new uses of electricity, like we can use the microwave heatings, electric plasma, automation, etc. These new uses represent the new process which is very effective and very efficient. So these are the various demand side management options are available. Now if we will see in the planning perspective how we can include. Normally the traditional planning approach, the demand side management options are not included, and thus we require a lot of incentive so that we can see what are the savings. So normally we go for the integrated resource planning. Now question, what is the integrated resource planning? That is IRP. It is very well known. The IRP is the process of simultaneously examining all the energy savings and energy producing options to maximize the mixture of resources and minimize the cost while including the consideration of environmental and health concerns. Means it is including your various hazardous gases, those are coming out from the power plants. Along with that, we can go for the energy saving options in the distribution sides and the energy producing options on the supply side. We are going to maximize the mixture of resources with the minimization of cost. Means always we try to minimize the total cost with various constraints like your environmental, health concerns, and we go for the planning approaches. So IRP basically differs from the TRP, that is a traditional least cost planning, where a given load forecast, the utility identifies a sequence of addition of generating plants which will satisfy the forecasted load at the minimum cost. In the TRP, we never go for the demand side option. Always with the forecasted demand, the utility try to decide what will be the generation, what type of will be the generation, and where it will be located, without looking the constraints of your environmental, without looking the energy saving options. Then it is called your TRP. Now question, why DSM and RP? DSM activities and the ensuing RP are expected to economically optimize overall resource utilization while minimizing the adverse environmental effects to satisfy the customer's end use requirement. The use of energy resources is growing. Of course, the load is every time keep on increasing at an alarming rate, which leads to many adverse global phenomena such as global warming. So the global DSM and IRP efforts will help to reduce the global problem and improve the cooperation between the countries. So this IRP and the demand side options are very, very useful in current scenario. Now let us, so far we discussed about your generation side developments, transmission side developments, and also we saw the distribution side developments. Now let us see what are the changes, what are the new developments in the operational side. In operational changes, basically the power system which was vertically integrated, means your generation, transmission and distribution was almost in one utility. In several countries, your transmission and distribution in one side, or generation and the transmission in one side, distribution may be away, may be separate utility. But in overall, I want to say in unbundled power system, the generation, transmission and distribution is managed by one utility, that is called your vertically bundled power system. Now in the current scenario, what is happening, the whole this power system consists of generation, transmission and distribution. Now it is in the restructuring phase, and sometimes it is called, some country it is called the reform, some country it is called privatization, and some country it is called the deregulation. But of course the power system restructuring is not the privatization, means the ultimate aim is to provide the better service to the customers, and also we can provide the better choice to them on the competitive rate of electricity. So the deregulation, if you find the deregulation is very widely, if you remember I was also talking the regulation in the frequency control, that was R. So you don't say this deregulation means there is no R, it is not related with the frequency control. It is a deregulation means the regulation, the policy that we are having, we are going for the different regulations. Although the literal meaning of deregulation seems that there is no regulation, but it is not so. We are going for more and more regulation. So the better word here, and several times it is used, the re-regulated market, where we are changing the conventional regulations where it was operated by one utility and its intention was the different. Now we are operating this power system in the competitive mode, and that's why it is called competitive power market. You can see here the competitive power market. So the deregulation is very widely used term in the power system restructuring and power system people. But other words are also equally important, and the meaning is same, that we can have the competitive power market, with this the re-regulated, it is open power market, and it is called vertically unbundled power system. It is also called open access. Why it is called vertically unbundled? Now you can see here. Basically in this whole, this is a dotted line, so that it is one utility. Now it is a vertically bundled power system, means generation, transmission and distribution business, this all business are combined together, and it is owned and operated by one utility. Maybe one or two utility, maybe one transmission and generation in several countries is one, and distribution is another company. But here you can say there is no competition in generation, there is no competition in the distribution. So what is in unbundling, what we are doing? First we are just separating these three business separately, means this line here and this we are just cutting, means just separating these three business differently. So it is called vertically unbundled, which you can say vertical here organization, power generated here, transmitted, and finally coming to the distribution business, and it is going to the customers. But still it is not solving our purpose. means we cannot introduce the competition. If the generation, all the generation is in one company, then it is a monopoly. So we want some another cut. It is called here, just you can say we can cut, we can create several companies of generation itself, so that we can introduce the competition, and this is called vertical cut. It is a vertical separation, but horizontal cut. Here it is a horizontal, here the horizontal separation, here this cut we are cutting the vertically here. Similarly, we can also introduce the competition in this sector by having the different retail company, different distribution companies. But we want that this transmission business should be always here, it is in monopoly. Again the monopoly, why? Because the transmission business is a very critical business. It basically relates your generation and distribution by this grid, and you know there is something happens in one of the line, other whole grid will be disturbed and other customers will be suffered. So it is believed that the transmission business should have the natural monopoly. It doesn't mean that we cannot introduce the competition. It means competition in terms of we can introduce the competition, but the competition in terms of constructions of the line, but it should be operated and managed by one independent utility, that is called ISO, independent system operators must operate. I will come to that point later. Now let us see why thus we are going for the restructuring of electricity supply industry. The better experience of other restructured market such as communication, banking, oil and gas, and the airlines are the, you can see the examples. For example, you can say when this mobile business was introduced, it was per minute 40 rupees. For outgoing and for incoming it was almost 20 rupees. But nowadays we are having 10 paisas and 20 paisas per minute. This is the age of competition, and with the help of competition the prices are very reasonable and just we are going to pay. So the communication business is doing very well with the competition. Already we have seen the banking business, lot of private bankings, they are doing very well, and always there is a competition in the operation management. Oil and gas, in several countries the gas prices and oil prices are keep on changing throughout the day. Airlines, you can say earlier the traveling with the airlines, it was a dream for the people, but nowadays even the individual person can travel with the airlines. So looking at these experiences, the policy maker of electricity, they also thought why not we can introduce same competition in this electricity business. The competition among this energy suppliers and the wide choice for the customers. So they thought we can introduce the competition in the generation business, and that will give the choice to the customer. So the customer can choose their supplier. Now question again arises, why then earlier your electricity was regulated? Whether that time people were fooled? It is not so, because at that time it was the need to go for the regulation, regulated vertically bundled power system. The reason behind that, this regulation originally reduced the risk as it was perceived by both industry and the government. Several advantages and important benefit of regulation at that time was that it legitimized the electric utility business. It gives utility recognitions, limited support from the local government in approving right of way and the easement. You know, if it is in private hand, people will not allow to pass the transmission line through their lands. So the right of way means if you are going to construct the transmission line, you require huge 20 meters space that will be found, you have to cut several trees, etc. So it was not possible if it is in the private hand, and there will be a lot of problem. Also in the development of new power plants, it requires huge area, huge space, and that is also not possible if it is not in the government hand. So now the technology and everything is mature, whole this business is now mature. So now it is a time, high time we can say, to improve, to implement the competition wherever it is possible. In the beginning phase, since the investment was very high, so it was not possible for the private investor to come into this business, because they were not thinking what will be the return. So it assured, if here it is in the public or you can say government sector, it assured a return on the investment, and regulated as might be, means regulated return on the investment was approved, and earlier it was 3% was approved that electricity boards will be getting the profit on that. It established a local monopoly in building the system and the quality of the supply without a competitor. It was also believed that we should go for the local monopoly, and so that we can provide the good quality without the competition. The major problem in the competition is the deterioration in the quality. People are keep on going for the lower and lower prices, but the quality is deteriorating. So at that time it was the era that it was believed that we have to go for the proper quality, that people should realize that this is the quality, and then it was regulated. Another reason for that it simplified the buying process for the customers. Now you can say, unless until the price is changed, if government is not going to change and price is not changed, the price for whole month it is almost fixed. So the people are knowing how much energy they are going to consume, what is the connection. Based on that connection means what is the power up that they have supplied. So they are going for the two-part tariff basically, and they know how much they are going to pay and how much they have consumed. So it was very simplified process, that is a buying process for the customers without any confusion. Means you can see your energy meter and you know what is your connection. Based on that you can pay your energy bills. But in this competitive era, that is a totally different. Means for every half an hour, like in UK, every half an hour the price is changed. So it is very difficult to monitor what will be the rate, and since you may be in office, so how you can going to consume. So the price that is a half hourly or hourly, it is changing in the competitive mode. So it is very difficult. So you have to go for the time of use meters so that you can pay accordingly. So the here in the regulated market, this is very simple. Consume energy multiplied by the rate, you should pay it. Another reason for the earlier deregulation regulated market was that the electricity was new and it was very confusing to deal with the conflicting claims, standards, offerings and the different power companies. When I was discussing the evolution of the power system, we saw that there was a different voltage levels were available. At the same time, we had the different frequency levels also. So the frequency and your voltages were different. Then everyone was claiming that his frequency and his voltage is the efficient and the standard one. So it was very confusing to the customers and also to the government. Then government thought, if we are going for the regulation, we can have some standard in terms of voltage, standard in terms of frequency, and you can say that's why in European as well as in Asian country we are having the frequency of 50 Hz. However, in US and Canada the frequency is 60 Hz. So they adapted 60 Hz, we adapted 50 Hz supply. Similarly, in the voltage level, you can see in the different countries the voltage level are different. In our country we are having the voltage level for the transmission. It is 400, it is 220 kV, it is 132 kV, and also nowadays we are going for 800 kV voltage system. So these are the transmission voltage system. However, in other country you can find here it is instead of 400 they go for 345, here they go for 115, and so on and so forth. Their voltage levels are there. So the voltages again is the different, and so it was need at that time that we have to go for some regulation so that to make some standard for interconnection. Why, if you are going for the different voltages here, that you are going for a standard for the different voltage, I am talking that you can make the interconnection possible, and you know the interconnection had a lot of advantage. Another was that we can go for least cost operation, means we can operate the utilities with the minimum cost of generation, because you know the system demand is keep on changing, so that we can set the generators. Those are cheaper, they can generate continuously. Those are expensive generators, they can be only allowed to run when the system demand is more. So we can go for the economic dispatch if you are having in one utility. If you are it is operating with the different utilities, then there is no sense of economic dispatch. So they are just going to bid and they are going to generate based on that. Another major claim for the regulated electricity market was to meeting the social obligation. Social obligation here, as I said, now you can see the cost of electricity that we are paying in the urban area, that is same as in rural area. However, for the customers which are the is not densely populated, we are going for the several kilometers lines, and then we are feeding for few customers. So the total cost, if you will see, for providing those customers is very expensive. However, in the urban it is very densely populated, and the T&D requirement, if you will carry over on them, it is very small. So the The social obligation means some of the customers, even the few customers are very far away from the grid, but still we provide the electricity. This is the obligation of the government. But in the competitive power market, there is no social obligation. Another reason for the regulated market was that this electricity sector is not a very simple sector. In this one, the huge investment in terms of generation, in terms of transmission, in terms of your distribution wires, etc., that was required. So, yeah, and it was, if you are going for huge investment, of course there will be huge risk that whether you are recovering the cost, and you can see what is the condition of our state electricity board. Although it is not only this, that they are not getting proper return, but there are some other, you can say, mal-operation and other things are there. Due to that, these are in the red. Now, let us see what are the forces. We saw the advantages of the regulated power system. We also saw the motivation behind this electricity restructuring, that is a deregulation, or you can say competitive power mode of operation. The forces behind restructuring here, I am talking here the forces behind the deregulation, means why we are going for the competitive electricity market, why not in the present form which we are having. The first reason that it is the force is the high tariff and overstaffing. High tariff was the reason for the California. The California state, the cost of electricity was more than 50% than its neighboring state. The regulators of California state, they thought that if they will go for the competitive mode of operation of electricity business, they will reduce, and they did it, and they find it. So, this is the high tariff in the several other countries, like in Asian country and Latin American countries also. The tariff was very high, and then they went for the deregulation to reduce the tariff. Another reason for deregulation is the global economic crisis. In 90s there was a economic recession, and that time the utilities were not getting the proper fund to develop its business. So, they thought that why not they should privatize, they should sell it, and they can get it the money, and then it started the privatization. And after that privatization, then if it is privatized, why not we demand for the competition among these private companies. So, this whole process started after this global economic crisis itself. In several Asian country and your Latin American country was the reason for that. Regulatory failure means several country the regulation is not operating in proper fashion. No doubt there is a lot of rules and regulations are there, but the people are manipulating, and the whole system is in regulatory failure manner. So, this may be the reason, even though in our country also the regulatory failure is one of the reason. Another is your political and ideological changes. This is the case of UK. In UK, when there was in 1984 there was a general election, the opposition party declared in the manifesto that if they will come into the power, they will privatize whole the business, not only electricity, all the business. They won in majority, and they privatized all the business, and energy was one of them. So, this was the reason of the politicians. They thought if they go for the competition, they will go for the privatization, they will achieve lot of objective, means again objective is that they will reduce the cost of electricity, at the same time they will meet the objective that they will supply, they will give electricity with the choice of customers. Another reason is your managerial inefficiency, means the management as whole, it is in alarming state in the several Asian country as well as the Latin American country, like Chile, Argentina, whole this managerial and other things was in the dark, and this is the reason that they went for the deregulation. Lack of public resources for the future development, as we saw that the demand of electricity is increasing at the alarming rate. You can also imagine just 5 years back people were using simple fans, or some people were using coolers, but nowadays if you go in the city, you will find every next house will have at least one AC, air conditioner. So, you can see how this demand is increasing, again in terms of production, in terms of different style, and you can say luxurious lifestyle of the people. This demand is keep on increasing, and due to that increase here we have to go for the various generation. Now, you can see in our country, that's why we are having a huge deficit of energy generation. We have not having enough generation so that we can meet the demand of the customers. So, what we do? We go for the load shedding. So, and why the utilities are, or you can say CBs are not building the powerhouses? Because they are not having enough fund. So, the lack of public resources is one of the reason. So, what is happening? the utilities are going for the private. They are inviting the private investor to build, own and operate the power plants. Here you can see in the UP State Electricity Board, several plants were sold out because they were not having enough fund to operate the business. For example, the Unchahar and your Tanda, that was sold to NTPC because there was a huge dues of that organization. Another is your technological advances, means there are a lot of new technologies like combined cycle power plants. They are very efficient, they can very easily started, they are can be put into the service within 1 or 2 years. So these power plants are coming in, and due to that again the competition is started. Other reason is the rise of environmentalism, because a lot of environmental people, they are very much agitating against that there is some cut of the trees. If some area will be submerged, they are going for agitation. So it is not possible to go for the hydro power exploration. So option, again we are having the limited coal reserves, oil and gas reserves. So what are the options? Nuclear also, people are very much concerned about the hazards of nuclear, as you know. So we have to again go utilize our resources so that we can utilize and we can reduce our prices. Another reason is your pressure from the financial institutions. That is a very, very big reason. You can say the Odisha state was one of the example for that. Normally the World Bank gave the loan that you have to restructure your business. In Odisha, it was the condition for the World Bank loan that the Odisha State Electricity Board must be restructured. Means all the 3 segments like generation, transmission and distribution must be divided into 3 different entities, and they should operate even though in different fashion. Distribution was also divided in several zones, and they should operate in the competition. Here in the UP also, we saw that there is a pressure from the World Bank that we have to divide the generation, transmission and distribution business. And you can see generation is already away from this whole, and then now the transmission and distribution, that is called UP Power Corporation. Earlier it was UP State Electricity Board, where generation, transmission and distribution was in one utility, UPSCB. Now we are having the Utpadan Nigam, that is to looking after all the generations in the UP, that is belongs to state government. So again there is a move that we are going to have the separate transmission and distribution different entities right now. So this is the financial pressure from the institutions like World Bank, ADB. They are giving load with the condition that you have to restructure your business, then they will allow to go far. Another is your rise in public awareness. Now people are very much aware. Earlier people were, whatever we were providing, they were taking as it is. But nowadays people are very much cautious. They need the good quality of power. They need uninterrupted power. They need several different and also at the cheap rate. So the customers need choice. We want that we should not take electricity from one company. If that company is not providing better, we can shift to another company. So this is the now customers are also very much aware, and that is also giving a lot of pressure to the policy makers and regulators that they have to rethink and they have to go for the restructuring of this business. Similarly, there are several other smaller and smaller forces behind this restructuring, and again I want to mention the reason for the restructuring for each country is totally different. Means it may be combination of several here. It is not only one, it may be the combination of several regions, but again it is a totally different from the different country. Now let us see why now the deregulation is appealing, means it is looks very attractive. First, it is believed that now regulation is no longer necessary. Now you can see the reason behind that. The primary reason for the regulation was to foster the development of electricity supply industry infrastructure, which has been achieved. Means the main reason for the regulation, now it has been achieved, so there is no need to go for the regulation. Now it is a time to go for the deregulation. It is also expected that the deregulation will reduce the price. So the electricity price may drop, and it is expected that due to innovation and the competition, means new technologies are coming, then we are expecting that price of electricity will drop. Another reason for appealing, the customer focus will improve. means expected to result in the wider customer choice and the more attention to improve the service. Because if the customer focus will improve, means customer will get the choice, and if they will get choice, then there will be possibility there will be more attention to improve the service. For example, you can see, suppose you are having a supply from your utility that you are getting. If there is something happens, if you are making a complaint, people are not listening. It may be, it will take even though for several weeks further to hold this. But in the competition age, now you can take the example of the mobile communication business. If there is certain problem, you can call to their service center, they will give ID number, and within 24 hours your problem will be solved. So this is the competition that basically give more attention, and that will improve the quality of the service as well. Another reason for your deregulation, that will encourage innovation, means you can have more different technologies, and we require it because our resources are keep on exhausting. Your coal reserve is depleting, your gas and oils are reducing, hydro it is very difficult to construct, and also that is also limited. So we have to go for several new renovation, we have to improve the efficiency, we have to go for the new technologies like your wind power, solars and other things, so that we can. So it is believed that the competition will give the innovation, so that people will, the competitors will try to improve their efficiency in terms of operational as well as output efficiency. So the rewards to risk takers and encourage the new technology and business approaches. Another reason for the deregulation is that it will augment the privatization, because the utilities are not having enough fund. So it is believed that the private companies will be coming, and they will be setting up the different utilities, and then they will be competing to each other. So in the country where the government wishes to sell state-owned utilities, the deregulation may provide the potential buyers and new producers. So we can go for the new producers, we can sell the state government's utilities, and then we can introduce the competition. So this is the right way to go for that. Now let us see what will be the transformation. So let us see what are the various transformation that is taking place due to the deregulation of electricity sector. First transformation, as we saw, that the vertically integrated system, where vertically integrated means your generation, transmission and distribution in one hand. Now it is changed to vertically unbundled system, where your generation, transmission and the distribution were the different three entities. In this vertically integrated system, the reduced regulated cost based operation was there, means the utilities are operating based on the regulated cost base, means we are operating the cost, and again it is regulated by the regulators, or you can say government body. So here the prices are decided by the cost of generation, and which is again regulated, monitored, controlled by the government. But in the competitive power mode or unbundled power system, it is unregulated price based operation, means no one is controlling, it is the market is deciding the price, so that it is a price based operation. So this is known as the monopoly, where the vertically integrated, and one is, you can say, the monopoly system, but here it is nothing but your competition. Now another, here in the monopoly system, the electricity is treated as a service, because the government here is a regulated cost base, so this electricity is treated as a service. But in competition, this electricity will be treated as a commodity. Whenever in competition, any item, any value, anything that is treated as commodity. So here electricity will be now changed from service to the commodity, and this service will basically will be taken by the consumers. So we are the consumers, but in the competitive power market we will become the customers, because the customers gets choice and consumer gets privilege. So we are getting the privilege of electricity. Again, there are several things. And of course another change here in the vertically integrated market, those were the electrical and mechanical engineers, now they are transforming to become the lawyer and manager along with their BTech degree. So there is a lot of transformation in that area. Another is the, if you are going for the deregulation, there are a number of questions to be answered before moving for the deregulation. First question is that whether this restructuring is good for your society. If it is good, then only you have to go for your competitive power mode. Another is, what are the key issues in moving towards the restructuring? Why you are just moving from your vertically operated system to your unbundled power system? What are the reasons? Without reason, if your current electricity sector is operating and doing very well, there is no need to shift. So you have to identify the problems, and then you have to see whether that problem is going to be solved or not. Now you have to also see what will be the implication of the current market industries participants. Means presently what will happen, those are old generating stations, what will happen the old power plants, etc. Means already the existing market participants, whether what will be the implication to this. We have to also see what will be the new type of participants will arise. For example, you can see there will be some brokers, there will be some aggregators, there will be retail companies, there will be several distribution companies, there will be wire companies, there will be your settling coordinator, there will be power exchanges. So many companies will be arising. And again, you can say only the consumer, the customer is going to consume the electricity and the suppliers are supplying the electricity. So in between there are so many new participants, they are arising, and their intention will be to take money from this market. Then whether cost will decrease or increase, you can decide. If you have decided that okay, you have to go for, means you have seen this implication of current market industries, you have seen the new one also, you have thought, you have also decided the key issues, then you have to also think what should be the structure. The structure of each and individual country is totally different. You have to see how it is going to be operated, how you are going to accommodate the current industry market participants. So it is you have to decide the structure. Structure, no doubt, in general, the three type of structures are there. That is a pool type, bilateral type, and multilateral type. But again, the normal operational structures are different for different countries. It should not be borrowed from the Western countries. Then you have to also see what type of transactions of future will look like. So these are the major questions. If you have satisfied and you have answered, then only you can go for your restructuring, or you can say deregulation of electricity market. Now let us, before going for this what will be the potential problems, let us see some milestone of the restructuring. You can see this first country which went for this restructuring was Chile, and it went in 1982, almost 24 years back. After that, the UK, which went for the competitive power mode of operation in 90s. After that, you can see the several developments. I have not listed all. So you can see the Argentina, Sweden and Norway went in 1992, Bolivia and Colombia 93, Australia in 1994, again the Australia the limited part. New Zealand went on the deregulation in 1996, and you can say this 1998 the California, the US and several other states, they also go for, and in 2000 several states of America as well as your that European Union countries, they went for the competitive mode. So presently your Singapore, this is also operating in the competitive power mode. Several Latin American countries, also in the Europe as well as you can say North Sweden, along with this Canada and your USA, they are operating in the competitive power mode. So these are the milestone of this one. Now let us see the market, how we can define that the various type of markets are existing. Earlier it was simple energy market, means people were buying the energy from the utility and they were paying for the money. But now you can see in the competition, the market is open and several markets are going to be arise. If we will define the market by the commodity which are going to be traded, that we can say this energy market, the transmission asset market and ancillary market. Energy market is market where we are actual energy, actual power we are buying. That is how much you are going to consume, this power output of generators. The transmission system, because for competition we require the transmission system as well, and then here this transmission system market is another market that is running parallel to this energy market. The ancillary service market, that is another very headache, because in conventional or you can say regulated power market, this ancillary service was with the utilities, and ancillary services are nothing but you can say we have to go for the reserves, we have to go for your, even though reserves is your static reserves, installed capacity, spinning reserves, we have to also go for the voltage control, we have to go for the frequency control. All these are even the imbalancing of power, that is the ancillary services. So we are having another market. So it is, we are having three markets they are running parallelly. It is not necessary that all these three markets must run in each and every country. In some country it is only energy market and ancillary is the mandatory. Some country energy and ancillary are running parallel. In some country all three are running parallel. So the market, if we will define by the time frame for the trade, then it is called day ahead market. If traded for means hour ahead market, and it is a real time. What is the day ahead market? Day ahead market, suppose we are talking today and we are talking for the tomorrow, it is midnight to 24 hours. Here we are just going to settle our market at, let's suppose, 10 a.m. today. So for the starting from the 0 hours for tomorrow midnight to the midnight of the next day, here 24 hours block, here you can say 1 hour block, here your this market is settled. Means what we are doing, we are forecasting demand for these particular hours. Based on that, we are inviting the bids from the suppliers, and then we are saying we are clearing the market. We are asking that which generator will be generating at which hours. So it is decided here, and this is called hour ahead, because the electricity we require for this day, we are just clearing the market here. It is called day ahead market. Another market we go for the hour ahead market. Means if you are talking here for the 9 a.m. at 8 a.m. we again forecast the 9 a.m. load, because the forecasting here always there will be error in the forecasting. So the actual demand 1 hour ahead what will be there. Then we can also ask some generator to participate in this market. They should bid that what rate of the power they are going to sell in this hour ahead market. So this is called 1 hour ahead market. Another is your real time. You know, when the time has arrived, let's suppose 9 a.m. has arrived, and that we know that there is some mismatch, means there is some increase and decrease in the power, then we have to ask the generating company, okay, bid for your increment and the decrement of the power, and based on that we have to settle the market. Why it is required? Because we require the total balance, load and your generation must be balanced, so that we can maintain the frequency of the system. So it is a balancing market, sometimes called, that is a real time market. So here the three markets are running at the three different parallelly again. You can also see if you are going for the auction type, based on the auction we can divide the single side or the double side. Means if the bids are only allowed from the supply side, then it is called single side bid. If you are inviting the bids from the customer side or retail company side also, then it is called double sided bid, and then we are going to match it. Based on the type of bids, again it is required at what is the type of bid, means whether it's you are going to sell blocks of your power or your linear bid. Means a generating company here, it is output here power, and it can sell like this here. He can say that first 10 megawatt he will sell at 2 rupees, and next here 15 he can sell at the 3, and so on. So it is a block bidding he is bidding. Means whole 100 megawatt, suppose a utility is having 100 megawatt capacity, so it can say, okay, I'll sell this first 10 megawatt, 20 megawatt at this rate, next 20 at this rate, next 30 at this rate. So he can go for the different, it is a flexible, so it can bid. Why it is that increasing? Because the cost here it is keep on increasing, the quadratic characteristic. So it is called block bidding. It may be that the linear bid, that we can ask, okay, you can bid like this, that if the output is increasing, the price is also increasing, and this is called the linear bids. So again the market is decided by your block bid or linear bid in this fashion. Another is your generation settlement. Generation settlement is basically whether we are going to have a uniform price or the pay as bid price. Uniform price means once the market is cleared, all the generators are getting the same price, and that price is the marginal price. Means the generator who is going to dispatch last in the merit order loading, that will set the market clearing price. In this uniform price, that is MCP, there is a lot of debate whether we have to go for uniform or not. Suppose the generating company here, let's suppose our load here, I'll give one example here for this one. Let us see this example, so it will be more clear. Let us take our demand is 80 megawatt, and we are having the 5 generating companies. They are selling that here 20 megawatt, this generator is selling at 2.5. It is a single block they are selling. Here the generator 2 is saying that he will sell 10 megawatt at the $2, again $2 per megawatt hour. Of course it is not dollar, its monetary value will be anything, but here we can decide here. And this here the $15 at this rate, and 45 he is going to sell at this one, and $2.2 he is going to sell at 30. Now what we do in the market clearing mechanism, we just rank them in the merit order, means that which one is cheaper. You can say generator 2 is cheaper, the 2, so we have taken generator 2 and it is going to sell 10 megawatt capacity. Now we have to bring generator 5 because it is 2.2, just higher than this. So we have added, it is selling 30, so we have reached now 40 megawatt. So this is your 30 here, this is your 10 megawatt, now the 40 megawatt we have reached. Now we have to call next higher, that is at generator 4, and it has capacity here, that is 45. Now you can see, and then we have to rank 3 and 1 here, just I have written and also shown in the different color. Now our demand is only 80. Here you can say the 80 demand, and this demand is coming here. What happens? We have to load the generators according to their merit order. Those are cheaper, they will be dispatched first. Here we are talking unconstrained dispatch. We are not talking that if there is some congestion or any congestion are occurring in the power system or not. So for this you can say, now what we'll do? This generator is the last generator which is going to be dispatched, and this generator is not dispatched completely. So what we are doing, so this generator is generating 30, this generator is going to generate 10, and this generator is going to generate 40 megawatt, that is total we are getting 80 megawatt. So this generator, the price was how much? Is 2.3 and $2.3. So he is setting the market clearing price, and in uniform market clearing price what happens, all the generator, this generator was bidding here at the 2.2, but it is also expected that this generator will also get this rather than this. So even though this any generator can bid at a 0, but the market, the price which he is going to get, it is decided by the market. If market decide price is this, all the generators are getting the same price, whether irrespective of their bidding value. So those were very cheap generator, they never take risk, they bid at 0 value. So in uniform market clearing price, this is called MCP. The price which is set by the last dispatch generator, that will be given to all the generators, and this is called uniform market clearing price. This is highly debatable. People say, why? If this generator is willing to sell at 2 rupees, why we are giving higher value? He should take only 2 rupees. In that case, it is said pay as bid, means what they have bid, you have to pay according to that. But the economists say that this uniform market clearing price is the better than pay as bid market, because they want that if this company will be getting profit, he will try to expand its business, and that will be good for this market. Also here, if this, some people are very risky, they are very continuously operating, so they can bid, they don't know the market. Here if you are going to pay as bid, what will happen? This generating company will try to see that what will be the market clearing, and he will try to bid more than that. So there is a possibility that this company, let's suppose earlier it was bidding at 2, now he is thinking the price will be 2.3 or 2.4, let's suppose he thinks that price will be 2.4. What will happen? Now you can see this generating 2 will be coming up, and then market clearing price will be increased to this one, because this will be the deciding factor. So in that way there will be more competition, and the market clearing price probably will be higher than in this market. So the mostly this uniform market clearing price is the better choice for going for this. So let us see that how we are just going to in the market clearing, there is a different type of markets are also available, that is your pool market, bilateral market, and what are those markets. So let us see what are the potential problem in this deregulation. We saw the competition is very good, there are always advantages. I have explained several advantages of the deregulation. Now let us see, of course whenever there is some advantage of any system, there will be some, I am not telling the more, maybe less, but always there will be some problem. So the potential problems in the deregulated market is enormous, it is not less. First we can see the congestion. What will happen? The congestion means congestion is still existing in the conventional market, but that is managed by the utility who is owning, operating the whole business. But in the competitive power market, the congestion is more. Why? All the customers will try to get the power from the cheap generators, and therefore the transactions will be keep on increasing, and the possibility of the congestion will be keep on increasing. And how you are going to manage the congestion? Which generator is going to be reducing the power, which is going to increase the power? It is again the lot of dispute and settlements are required. Another is your market power. As I said, here in the electricity market, the number of suppliers are very limited, and therefore what happens, there is a possibility that they will intensely try to increase the price. If they will try to bid higher value knowing the demand, then what will happen? The possibility of the market power is more, and market power is the abuse to any competition. The market power shows that market power is that if anyone is intensely trying to increase the price, then and it is draining the wealth from the customer to the supplier, it is the market power. This market power, it is not the money is taken by the individual generator who is exercising the market power, but this money is distributed to all the generators. All the generators are getting benefited. So the market power is the abuse because we have the limited suppliers. It is not possible that we can go for thousands of suppliers. Another is obligation to serve, which is not possible in the competitive power mode. Only the government has to take the initiatives and special steps to go for the obligation to serve. Some suppliers will be at the disadvantage, as I said, because some of the poor suppliers, those ramp rate, those technically they are not good, and they may be sometimes there are very frequent tripping and etc. is there, they cannot compete and they cannot come to the market power. They are also very expensive, so some suppliers will be at the disadvantage. The price volatility, the price will be keep on fluctuating, as I said, every half an hour in UK, every hour in Australia as well as the USA, the price is changing. So the price volatility is here, it is a keep on alert. For example, when the demand is more, the price here may be less, and it may be several times in the evening peak. So this price volatility is one of the issue in the competitive power market. When the demand is more, if they will bid higher, people will be consuming and the price of electricity will be more. So there are some mechanisms to reduce this price volatility, price fluctuation or variability. Another is non-performance obligation. Suppose a supplier company is saying and he is asked to dispatch, means he won the bid and asked to dispatch, and he is not dispatching the power at that time. So that will create the chaos in the market. So for this, there is a huge penalty is going to be imposed, that is called imbalance penalty, and several countries it is implemented. Loss of operating flexibility, another concern, that when it was in one hand, one utility was operating all the business, transmission, distribution and your generation, but now the different companies, different distribution company, different your generating companies, and that is, and even though maybe owner of the transmission companies will be different, and it will be operated. So we are losing the operating flexibility which we had in our regulated market. Another concern is that the pricing of energy, how much we have to charge from the customers, and also how much we have to pay for the transmission services. Earlier it was a complete calculated value, but now it is a different segment. So how much we have to pay for the transmission service, who is going to make the new transmission lines, etc., who is going for the planning, etc., all these things are always questionable. Some technical problems like the ATC, available transfer capability calculations, are also very important, because we have to have the fast computation and we have to post in the market so that the bidders can know, and based on that they can bid for supply as well as for consumption of the power in that moment. Ancillary service management is one of the concern, that reserve margins, who is going to provide the reserve, what will be the cost of reserve, who is going to start first when the complete system is dark or the area is dark, that is called black start capability. When the system is collapsed, then we will start one by one. During that, you can see there is no output of power but huge investment. So again, the black start capability is one concern. Voltage and frequency control, who is going to do all the things, and the system security and stability, who is going to monitor. Earlier it was one utility who was looking for all, and of course the transmission reserve. So all these questions basically, then regulators thought that we should have one independent system operator, that is called ISO. means independent system operator. In some country it is called SO, some country it is called market operator, and so on and so forth. So they are there, they are not having any vested interest in either of three business, that is generation, transmission and distribution, and it is an independent government controlled body. So they are looking of all the things here, even the other problems as well, they are just monitoring here. So this body is, so you can say, supreme, and it is monitoring the market. As I said, since there will be a lot of participants, there will be a lot of disputes, lot of settlements are required, and of course there is another concern of the deregulated electricity market. So these are the, you can say, potential problem of electricity market. Now let us see the three type of markets that is existing. One is called the pool market, another is called your bilateral, and third one is your multilateral markets. Let us see what is the pool market. In the pool, basically here this one pool as usual. In this pool, what happens, all these generating companies are selling power to this pool, and the customers here, they are taking the power here. This see customers, various customers are connected. So the power which is coming from these generating stations are basically in the one pool, and it is consumed by the customers, and this body is basically independent system operator who is operating and deciding the market at which rate they are going to bid and at which rate they are going to pay to the ISO. So the energy is flowing from the generators and then finally coming to the customers here in this way. Now here the customers are not knowing which generator is supplying power to the particular customer, means they are not knowing the suppliers here, and it is, that is called pool. You can say this is a pool where thus all are selling and they are drawing the power from the customer. So this is a pool market. In the bilateral market, what we expect here, the power will be no doubt will be flowing here, but money here will be flowing here, means the generator here G1 will having contact with the customers and he is going to supply the power. No doubt that power will be flowing over the transmission line of this network. Here the various lines are there. Power will be coming to this, but there is the price is not concern of this pool. Price is mutually agreed by the generator here and the customer. This is a multilateral, means a bilateral one-to-one relation. We can also go for some expansion of this multilateral, means this generator can sell power to the different customers. So it is group of customers, or even though this customer can go for the group of generators, it is called multilateral type of operation. So basically this is a true competition, that the customer will have the proper choice. But in the practice, now we are having your combination of pool plus bilateral and multilateral type of markets, and they are operating very efficiently. So at end I want to say this electricity market is totally different from the other market, and this electricity market is very risky, and it has a special characteristic. Now you can see this electricity is not storable in the bulk quantity. Now you can go for the close and other market that you can store that one in the bulk quantity. Here we cannot store the electricity in the bulk amount, although we can store in terms of a small amount of power we can store in the batteries, but it is not bulk amount of power. Also the end use demand is typically constant, means whether the price is more or less, our end use is almost constant. But if you can see in potato, if you are going to buy potato, if the price is 20 rupees, you will start consuming less potato. So that is a varying, that is your demand is reduced. So you are having the demand elasticity. But in the electricity, if price is 2 rupees or price is 5 rupees, our consumption will be almost same. So the end use demand is typically constant. Here the trading is directly related to the reliability of the grid, means if something happens, then the grid will be disturbed and all the customers, all the generating companies will be in the problem. Here the demand and the supply should be exact, means whatever it is generated, that must be consumed, but if for other commodity you can store it. So here this is the supply and demand matching. The electricity price is directly related with the other commodity, like your volatile, like your cost, coal, gas and other prices that will also keep on changing. And also the cost of continuity is more than the cost of electric, means if you are supplying the electric, that is called energy not served, ENS, is always higher than the actual cost of supply. So if you are not supplying power, it is very expensive than supplying the electricity. So this electricity market is very different than your normal conventional market, but this market is very useful, and overall even all this problem that market is existing and that several countries are adapting the competitive mode of operation due to the several advantages. So with this, now hold this course, now it ends with this module number 6. We had the 6 modules and then we explained several in this 35 lectures, and this ends this complete module, and hope you have understood. Thank you.